with Sasha Banks explaining why she requested a release from WWE and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for March 30th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official, and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Gearing up for her match against Bianca Belair at WrestleMania, Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch said on Midnight Meats that she doesn't know if her character in WWE is a heel or babyface. I don't know where I lay. It certainly wouldn't say an anti-hero, especially with the ridiculousness of this character sometimes, but I do love it. I'm probably having more fun and I think doing the best work of my career, even if it's just from a personal standpoint. If nothing else, feels like that. So at the end of the day, that's all that matters. It's not all that matters, but I am enjoying it, and I feel like I'm doing good work and helping create a division that is spectacular. I'm so proud of what we're doing. Well, I think we have fantastic women, and I think we've elevated them and are going to continue to do so, and I think the possibilities are endless when you have a group like that. Since making his way to NXT, Dolph Ziggler has become the star of the show as the champion, with him set to defend that title against former champ Braun Breaker at Stand and Deliver. Talking to Sports Illustrated, Ziggler noted that he wants to help build NXT in the long term. You could tell me at 8:01 p.m. on Raw that I'm going out there against an opponent I'd never seen in my life, and I could still make it happen. There are about 5 others who can do that. No one else can. As much as people might say they have potential or that they're good, they can't. That's why I'm still here. And this Saturday at Stand and Deliver, I don't plan on losing and being a 3-week transitional champion. I want to help build this brand long term. This isn't going to be some 45-second match on Raw, and I can't stress that enough. I'm going to bust my ass. Everyone is going to see that chip on my shoulder. When people leave, they're going to say, holy sh**. No WrestleMania is as good as that. So see you at Stand and Deliver on Saturday. Recalling his 3-decade-long career on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, The Undertaker was asked about his best WWE storyline as he replied, wow, obviously a lot of people will think of Mick Foley, which is high up on the list. Obviously Kane, probably the greatest story ever told in wrestling. I also enjoyed my rivalries with Shawn Michaels, Triple H. Over the course of a 30-plus year career, you have a lot of interesting storylines and people that you get to compete against, but I'm going to say probably the battles with Kane. I think it was just, I think a storyline that people, whether you were a wrestling fan or you weren't, you understood just because of sibling rivalries, and I think people identified with that. And Kane was always such a physically dominant athlete, but he always brought the best out of me, so I'm going to go with the Brothers of Destruction. On NBC Sports Boston 10 Count, Wardlow noted that he does not keep up with AEW's competition in WWE, saying AEW is in its own league. I try not to pay too much attention what people are saying on Twitter. I've seen a little bit of that interaction. I cannot speak for everyone else in the locker room. Myself personally, I don't feel like we're necessarily in any type of war. Maybe if we were going head to head with Monday Night Raw or going head to head with SmackDown, maybe then, but realistically, I just feel like we are two completely different products. You know, one product does entertainment, one does professional wrestling, and I do believe that it is almost hard to even compare the two. I truly feel we are in our own league. Known as Tegan Nox in WWE, Nixon Newell would be released from the company in June. While there are rumors of her joining AEW, she is apparently facing visa issues, as it was reported that Newell is another top free agent in the wrestling world. Nixon hasn't wrestled since her WWE release, leaving her out of the ring since October. When Fightful inquired about her status, we were told that as of a couple weeks ago, she'd been kept very busy trying to sort out visa situations, which have been an uphill battle for many wrestlers who suddenly find themselves as wrestling free agents. Additionally, Fightful noted that AEW has been having talks with former WWE star Ember Moon, now going by Athena. People at AEW would claim that locking her down is not a priority right now, as there is a feeling out process between Athena and Tony Khan. There is also talk of Toni Storm making her debut for the promotion, with that serving as a possibility for tonight on Dynamite. During his talk on DC and RC, Kevin Owens spoke about his ongoing feud with Steve Austin leading into WrestleMania, revealing he is delighted to have angered fans with his Stone Cold impersonation. It's really funny because that's really not the kind of stuff I'm used to doing. That's happened before when one of the wrestlers would dress up as someone else like their rivals. The Miz did it a few years ago, DX has done it, a couple of people have done it and done it well. It was me stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit, but I figured it was the most impactful thing I'd do going into the match or confrontation, but it ended up being a lot of fun. I think I pissed a lot of people off, which is delightful. For his interview with GQ.com, John Cena spoke about missing his life as a full-time WWE superstar, saying, "I miss it every day, every single day, but I'll be 45 on April 23rd, and I was very fortunate to make it as long as I did with only a minor list of injuries. Nothing that has changed the trajectory of my long-term health. I'm strong, flexible, and in really good shape externally, internally. I think now being a full-time touring performer might start to hit that point of diminishing returns, and I have to be realistic when I look at that." There is a rumor going around online that WWE has removed marijuana from their prohibited substances list. This caused fans to say that the likes of Matt Riddle, Randy Orton, and more would be happy over this. An edited version of a WWE article seems to be where this stems from, but it appears stars will still see a fine of $2,500 if they have a marijuana positive test, which is deducted from a star's downside guarantee. Marijuana is not on the prohibited substance list, yet synthetic versions are, with WWE's corporate site reading, "The following uses of synthetic drugs, even if purchased as an over-the-counter medication without a prescription, are prohibited under this policy. Synthetic cannabinoids, most commonly referred to as Spice or K2, are chemically engineered substances similar to THC, the active ingredient in marijuana, that when smoked or ingested, can produce pharmacological effects similar to marijuana." Fans are certainly ecstatic over Steve Austin making a return to WrestleMania, as Ringside News revealed WWE's plans for Austin after the event. WrestleMania is exciting because Steve Austin is coming back to WWE. The big question is how often fans will see him. We were told that, as of right now, Austin's WrestleMania appearance is a one-time only thing. Things could always change, but Mania looks like a one-off. Speaking on the Sports Media Podcast, Paul Heyman revealed he has no issue praising AEW but believes the promotion is not on WWE's level. "I have no problem putting AEW over if AEW does things that's worth being put over. I don't live in a bubble." I would also offer to anybody that wonders why I would be so willing to put over the competition. If you look at WrestleMania and you look at the fact that over the course of these 2 days, WWE has sold more tickets, and I have to call the 2 nights one event, we sold more tickets to this event, this WrestleMania, than any other event in WWE history. Combine the 2 nights with that in mind and the spectacle that this show will be, and you combine that with the worldwide publicity that it's going to garner and the fact that the entire industry is focused on what's going to happen in WrestleMania and therefore what comes out of WrestleMania, I would argue the case that I could sit here and praise AEW all day long. They can't match what we're about to do at WrestleMania. Until they are in a position to match what we do at WrestleMania, I'm not that concerned with praising the competition because they are still a long way away from what we do and our level of success and our market dominance. Do I watch AEW? Of course I do, but I also watch everything else that's out there as well. If I can get my hands on Buenos Aires Championship Wrestling, I'd watch it. If I can get my hands on Antarctica All-Star Wrestling, if there is such a thing, I'd watch it. I watch anything to do with this industry. After losing the women's tag titles at WrestleMania 35 in 2019, Sasha Banks would take a break from WWE while suffering from a separated shoulder. She would recall this time and why she requested a release while speaking with The Athletic. "I had to make a wish the next day and I couldn't move, couldn't put my clothes on, couldn't do my hair. Bayley had to come into my room and do that. I didn't want to tell anybody. Those titles meant so much to me. I felt so sad every day and I didn't know why. I had to take myself away from a situation in such a fast world where I had to stop and realize who Mercedes was and who Sasha Banks was. I had no time off. I never got to see myself, my family. I took that time to figure out what I loved besides wrestling." Prior to his debut in WWE, Sami Zayn was a luchador on the independent scene known as El Generico. He would have many memorable moments, especially his wars with Kevin Owens. Talking about this character on Cheap Heat, Sami noted that it doesn't exist anymore. People have a fondness for the past. It's kind of normal that I get asked questions about past incarnations or past things in my career. Will we see this again? Some fans, and I take this as a positive because they have a lot of fondness towards my good guy days on NXT. There is a kinship there and they felt a connection to that character. I'll get messages saying, when are we going to get that guy back? That guy doesn't exist anymore. If the Beatles, if they were all alive, if they came back now, you can't recapture what you had in the 60s. It would be the Beatles of today playing songs from the 60s, but it's lightning in a bottle. Everything is a product of time and place. Sometimes you have to look at things that existed in that time and place and appreciate them for what they were, and kind of wish that they wouldn't come back, because if they did come back, it wouldn't be the same. Nothing is the same. It's all a product of when and where it existed. On the Sports Illustrated Media podcast, Seth Rollins was talking about AEW, saying the constant shots taken at WWE seem to come from a place of desperation. To me, it's one of those things where if it's very useful, it's fine. The references you spoke of, Rollins mentioning Moxley, CM Punk mentioning WWE, are two kind of different things. I didn't use the reference to Mox to talk down to somebody. I wasn't trying to diminish anyone's accomplishments. It wasn't like that. He's part of our story. Roman wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for Mox and I. The other side of that coin is the way that it can be used by those guys. They can do whatever they want. I find it very tacky and lowbrow personally. I think it looks and reeks of desperation. I don't think it's anything on our television show that we need to go there and talk down about those guys. They are doing their thing, they're doing it very well. We're very happy for them. I am, at least personally. Are they on our level? No. They have a long way to go to catch up to us. That's fine and they know that. They do things differently. From my perspective, it's a step down for us to use it as an insult. That's my perspective. People may not share that opinion. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.